Welcome to Ping 24 Updates, your daily dose of top global news. Subscribe and hit the bell to stay updated. Tonight we examine a story with global implications, one that could shape the future of international relations and security for years to come. Tensions are rising in the South China Sea, a region that has become a focal point for military and diplomatic maneuvering. China is becoming more assertive in its territorial claims, while the Philippines, backed by international law, is pushing back with renewed determination. Now, for the first time, NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, may be considering a more active role in the region. NATO was originally created to defend Europe from Cold War threats, not to intervene in Asian disputes, but that long-standing mission could be evolving. Why would an alliance focused on the North Atlantic get involved in a dispute thousands of miles away, far from its traditional sphere of influence? The answer lies in the importance of trade routes, the projection of global power, and the defense of the principles of international law that underpin the world order. The Philippines now finds itself at the very center of this geopolitical storm, caught between a rising superpower and a legacy alliance seeking relevance in a changing world. Decisions made in Brussels, Washington, and Beijing over the coming months could reshape the entire Indo-Pacific region and beyond. This isn't just a regional squabble, it's a contest over the future of the global order, with consequences that will be felt worldwide. Will international waters remain free and open for all, or will they become zones of contest and control? Can smaller nations stand up to larger, more powerful neighbors, or will they be forced to choose sides in a new era of rivalry? NATO's potential involvement raises the stakes dramatically, turning what was once a regional conflict into a global test of wills and alliances. The post-Cold War era of relative stability is ending. A new era of great power competition and shifting alliances is beginning to take shape. The South China Sea is now a flashpoint, and the Philippines stands on the front line of this unfolding drama. This is a story of shifting alliances, strategic calculations, and the search for security in an uncertain world. The outcome will impact the balance of power for decades to come, influencing not just Asia, but the entire globe. Let's break down every angle of this developing situation and explore what the future might hold for the Pacific and the world. To understand NATO's possible role in today's world, let's first look at its origins and how it has evolved over time. NATO was born in 1949, forged in the aftermath of World War II, when Europe was still recovering from devastation and uncertainty. Its purpose was clear: to unite Western nations against potential aggression, especially from the Soviet Union, and to prevent another catastrophic conflict. The core idea is collective defense. An attack on one is considered an attack on all, as stated in Article 5 of the treaty, making it a powerful deterrent. This principle helped deter conflict in Europe for decades, keeping the peace during tense moments of the Cold War. Joining NATO is not easy. A country must be a stable democracy, have a functioning market economy, and demonstrate a commitment to the alliance's principles. It also must be accepted by all current members, ensuring unity and trust within the alliance. After the Cold War, NATO's purpose was questioned, but it adapted to new realities and security challenges. It took on new missions, like peacekeeping in the Balkans, helping to stabilize regions torn by conflict. The alliance also expanded to include former Warsaw Pact countries, welcoming new members from Central and Eastern Europe. NATO evolved from defending against a single threat to promoting stability, security, and democratic values across a much broader area. Today, it's more than just a European alliance. It's a global security actor, involved in missions far beyond its original borders. This evolution explains why NATO might now look beyond the Atlantic, considering challenges in other regions. The alliance's adaptability and willingness to change are key to its continued relevance in a rapidly shifting world. Its actions are driven by shared interests and values, not just geography or old rivalries. As global threats change, from cyber attacks to terrorism, NATO's focus and strategies also shift to meet these new challenges. The South China Sea is the latest test of its reach, raising questions about how far NATO's influence should extend. Understanding NATO's history and transformation helps explain its possible future moves and decisions. The question now is clear: Will NATO act in Asia, and if so, how will it shape the future of global security? Why is the Philippines so important? Geography. The Philippines sits at a crossroads of international trade and military strategy in Southeast Asia. It borders the South China Sea, one of the world's busiest shipping lanes. Whoever influences the Philippines can shape regional trade and security. Its location is part of the First Island Chain, a natural barrier and strategic foothold. For the US and allies, a friendly Philippines is vital for maintaining freedom of navigation. The country's stability and alliances impact global commerce and the balance of power in Asia. The Philippines is not just another country, it's a linchpin of regional security. Its fate is tied to the future of the Indo-Pacific. That's why the world is watching. Now, let's look at China's role in the South China Sea, a region that has become a flashpoint for international tensions. China's rapid economic rise has fueled not only impressive military expansion, but also a bold new global ambition to project power far beyond its borders. Beijing claims almost the entire South China Sea, marked by its controversial 9-dash line, a boundary that stretches deep into waters claimed by others. These sweeping claims overlap with the exclusive economic zones of the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and several other Southeast Asian nations. To strengthen its position, China has built artificial islands, transforming once remote reefs into heavily fortified military bases equipped with airstrips and radar systems. Its Coast Guard and maritime militias frequently harass Filipino vessels and other neighbors in these disputed waters, escalating tensions and risking dangerous confrontations. For the Philippines, this is an existential threat. These waters are rich in fish, oil, and gas, resources absolutely vital to its economy and food security. In 2016, an international tribunal in The Hague ruled overwhelmingly against China's sweeping claims, but Beijing flatly rejected the decision and continued its activities. The standoff remains tense. The Philippines defends its rights under international law, while China continues to assert its dominance with growing confidence. The imbalance of power is stark, forcing the Philippines to seek outside help from allies and international partners to bolster its position. This is a classic David versus Goliath struggle, with a small nation standing up to a regional superpower. The world is watching closely to see if international law and the rules-based order will be upheld in this critical region. The stakes are high for the global order, as the outcome here could shape the future of international relations and maritime law. The Philippines is not a NATO member and is ineligible under current rules. An attack on the Philippines would not trigger NATO's collective defense clause. But NATO's interests go beyond formal alliances. The South China Sea matters for international law, freedom of navigation, and global stability. China's actions challenge the rules-based order that benefits all NATO members. Supporting the Philippines is about defending principles, not just treaties. The Philippines is a democratic partner on the front line of a global challenge. Helping Manila is an investment in stability and a message to would-be aggressors. It's about shared interests in a stable, lawful world. That's why this conversation is happening. To grasp this situation, we need to talk geopolitics. Geography shapes power. Countries' locations, resources, and neighbors define their influence. Strategic locations, like the Philippines, are global chess pieces. The first island chain, including the Philippines, is crucial for projecting or containing power in Asia. The US wants to maintain influence. China wants to break out and dominate the region. The Philippines is caught in this great power competition. Alliances like NATO are tools to balance power and protect interests. Allowing China to dominate the South China Sea would be a major loss for the West. It would shift the global balance of power. Supporting the Philippines is a calculated move to prevent a rival's decisive advantage. Geopolitics explains why NATO might get involved. It's about strategy, not charity. NATO is no longer just a European alliance. After the Cold War, it acted globally, most notably in Afghanistan after 9/11. NATO led a massive mission far from Europe, showing it could project power worldwide. In Libya, NATO enforced a UN-backed no-fly zone, intervening for humanitarian reasons. Counter-piracy and training missions in Africa and the Middle East further expanded its reach. These actions set a precedent. NATO can act wherever its members' interests are at stake. Geography is no longer a barrier. That's why NATO's involvement in the Philippines is plausible. The alliance has already crossed continents to defend its interests. Why might NATO help the Philippines? Several reasons. First, the South China Sea is vital for global trade. NATO members depend on open sea lanes. Second, balancing China's rise is a strategic priority. Unchecked aggression would embolden Beijing. Supporting the Philippines is a classic balance of power move. Third, the Philippines is a democracy. NATO is an alliance of democracies. Backing Manila aligns with NATO's values and identity. Fourth, upholding international law is crucial. The 2016 tribunal ruling provides legal grounds. This is about defending a rules-based order, not just one country's interests. For NATO, the choice is about stability and principle. The stakes go far beyond the region. Nothing is guaranteed in international relations. NATO's involvement in the South China Sea would be a monumental step, requiring consensus among all members. Political will in Washington, London, Paris, and Berlin will be decisive. China's actions could tip the scales toward a stronger NATO response. NATO's support could range from diplomatic backing to joint exercises and intelligence sharing. Direct military intervention is unlikely, but not impossible in a crisis. This is an ongoing story, a sign of a new era of global competition. The relationship between NATO, the Philippines, and China will shape the Indo-Pacific's future. Decisions made now will have global consequences. Alliances and interests are shifting. The future of the global order is being forged in the South China Sea.